love kicking in the backyard. It's been a pleasure catching up with you today. It's always lovely talking to you.
There is a pig at full forward.
5820, Luke Hodge.
Here it is! Nimble as you like, a nimble ox.
That's how you do it, Mick. Bad luck.
He could kick a goal and put him in front, he has. The 1989 Brownlow medalist. The drought is over. Oh, Kevin Glories! Look at Kevin Sheedy. Malcolm Blight, it's a big kick. It's a mammoth kick. Oh, I've seen it all now. I have seen it all.
Good old Collingwood forever. They know how to play the game.
And even now, I still look back and I think, Christ, I was captain of Collingwood, and how lucky was I?
Oh, look, it was just probably the greatest club, football club in Australia at that time.
Well, I tend to get labelled a former Brownlow medalist more than a former captain, but it's for me, it's more important, really, the honour of being a captain.
It's a great title, and it's a privileged title, and I think there's only 46 that have ever been captain.
Once I was named captain, it was a bit of a shock to me when 20 million people ultimately hated me instantly, so I learned to deal with that.
You know, I was a Melbourne supporter growing up and I used to go to Queen's birthday every year, so I passionately hated Collingwood and found it quite funny that I ended up here.
Hello and welcome to a special edition of Footy Flashbacks. Over our proud 123-year history, just 46 men have been entrusted with the honour of captaining the Collingwood Football Club. These select few form a special club within a club. In my 10 years as coach of Collingwood, we had 3 captains, Mark Williams, Tony Shaw and Gavin Brown. They may have been very different personalities, but all were outstanding leaders. With 15 premierships and over 80,000 members, the Collingwood Football Club is one of the giants in Australian sport. Today we relive some of the big moments in the club's history through the eyes of these legendary leaders, beginning with their journey from boys with big dreams to the captain of the biggest club in the land.
I think being the captain of Collingwood is something you dream about as a youth. That's assuming you're ever good enough to play league football. That's hurdle number 1. Hurdle number 2 is actually becoming captain, and as I say, it's a dream.
A chance here for Terry Waters, the captain of Collingwood, pushes it over to Tuddenham. Tuddenham runs into trouble.
Cuddy was the outgoing captain, Bobby Rose was the coach, and in those days it was a very individual sort of thing. It wasn't as if you had a leadership group or anything like that. You were the captain, you tossed the coin, you had to show the leadership on the field, and if things were bad, you were the one who was expected to lift them up.
Wing, up they go, oh, it's a mark to Terry Waters. A good, strong mark.
I guess coming from Fremantle, where there was an association with my club, South Fremantle, with Collingwood, they played a lot of games against each other, and we'd always known about it, and then we'd always watched. There was a Channel 2, there was The Winners, so we always watched that. Sunday night, that was the ritual, 6 o'clock. And, you know, like 8 out of 10 Sundays, Collingwood would have been on it. So it was fantastic to see those guys and then to actually come across and to be a part of the club and to play with those guys like the Tuddenhams and the Waters and all those guys was fantastic.
Potter of Collingwood, a hand pass taken by Max Richardson. He's grabbed by Thornley of Carlton.
It's known as the best club in Australia, and to be, you know, put up into that era of being a captain of a football club and being captain of Collingwood after my brother was captain was fantastic, and it's a great honour for, I think, for the whole family, you know, that we both were made captain.
Through the Magpies into attack, but they've been falling down hopelessly up forward, taken by Max Richardson, the Collingwood skipper. His third kick, he's off for a run. Can he put it deep in towards the goal? Square will go. Moore setting himself. It's going to be through for a point, I would think.
Well, I grew up in Collingwood's area in the Diamond Valley, and while I wasn't a football fan as such, you know, it wasn't really something that my family was involved in, but I, through the school, primary school, followed Collingwood because we had the free tickets to come and watch them and get on the train at Eltham and go down to Victoria Park. And, you know, for me to watch Tom Owen, Peter McKenna and Wayne Richardson and Max Richardson and Barry Price and all these champions play was terrific. And then 2 years later, you know, a few years later, I'm playing with them. So it was a terrific thing to be part of that, and then to finally get to play there was a massive thrill.
Moore in front. He's got it. Second grab will be paid, I think. It will.
Played under Wayne Richardson and Max Richardson and then Ray Shaw, and to be appointed as a pretty young guy, I think I was 22 or 3 at the time, was a fantastic honour. Probably, reflecting on it, the biggest honour I had as a footballer. You know, I won, fortunately, quite a few individual awards, Brownlows and whatever, but you know, captaining this fantastic club was, you know, the biggest sporting club almost in Australia for sure, and one of the biggest in the world. So it was a terrific honour to be appointed as captain, and it was a role that I was really honoured to accept. Wayne Richardson was a particular mentor, and Tomo, Len Thompson as well, and Max. So, and I think, you know, probably the most important thing to be as a captain is a good leader and try and get your team on side and supporting you, and be a you know, a person who generates enthusiasm and loyalty and commitment from your team, and hopefully I was able to do that. And we had you know, a pretty successful time, although we didn't win a flag. I'm part of the losing captains club, but got to play in quite a lot of finals, and it was a good period.
No, it's interstate boy coming over. I could tell you about the Nord Football Club, the Glenelg Football Club, the McGarry medalists, but in terms of the history of Collingwood, it was limited. But it certainly doesn't take long to study up, and you have functions where you've got the past captains, past players, and especially when you get a president like Eddie, who loves his history, it's you pretty quickly discover or find out of a lot of things that have happened in the past.
And it proves just a little beyond him. It is a magpie mark, and it's Burns. And he is very good over his head, isn't he, for a small, medium player. 26 goals, 19 for the year. And that's one that might be able to get them going.
Here's a chance for the Magpies. Leon Davis looks for Burns. Well played, Lappin. Burns will get there first. Oh, won it beautifully. Has a ping at the goals. Scott Burns. That is magnificent.
Well, it's a great honour. I guess the two captains I played under were Gavin Brown and Nathan Buckley, so two fantastic leaders for the football club, and I was 33 at the time, so it was very much a transition period for the club as well, and I guess while they were working themselves out in finding that next leader that was going to be a long-term captain, I stepped in for that year and filled the breach, and I guess you hope during that period, you're only there for 12 months, but it's probably the work you do before that as a leader around the place, and especially that last 12 months to help Nick Maxwell or Scotty Penalty out for the future with just 1 or 2 points.
I think probably for me growing up, I barracked for Hawthorn. I lived in Geelong, so I really knew nothing about Collingwood, and I didn't understand the whole love them or hate them thing. And even as a player, it took quite a while for me to get that. To be Collingwood captain, I guess for a start, it was pretty daunting. It was shocking because I'd never been captain of any team in my whole life. It was the first and only one. So I didn't really know what to expect, or never ever thought I'd be in that position. So probably anything more than anything was daunting, and the guys that had gone before me, just like, well, it's been a while since we've won a premiership. If those guys couldn't take us there, how am I going to do it?
Gilbert on. Krasitsky, interesting kick. Gilbert. Oh, well done, Maxwell. It was his first with the left hand. Got it out of bounds, the captain.
Yeah, I played under Burnsy and Bucks, both very different. Bucks was probably a bit more outspoken, had a bit more to say. Burnsy was very sort of cool and calm and considered with everything he'd say. When I was sitting next to Bucks on a flight to Las Vegas, actually, there was about 4 of us going across, and he turned to me and said, "Look, I want you to wear number 5 after you retired." And I was sort of like, "What? Why? Why me? You're obviously a legend of the club and of the game, and I'll never be that, and I'm not in that position. Why would I want to take that on?" And he sort of explained to me why, and I guess the personality traits that I had, and why he had respect for me and wanted me to do it. So he said, "Look, have a think about it and come back to me." And he also said that if I don't do it, he's going to offer it to Daisy or Pendles. And I guess for me, at that stage, they were very early in their time at Collingwood, and I thought that not only, number one, what Bucks had done for me as a teammate and as a captain, and it meant a lot to him, so that was important, but also, number two, there was a little bit of protectiveness about those two kids coming through, and knowing that I would never get compared to Bucks, the player that I was and the type of position I played, but those two at pick 2 and pick 5, who we knew were going to be multiple Australians and just great players, I knew they would get that comparison. So a little bit of me was about protecting them as well.
Yeah, when I got drafted to Collingwood, I obviously knew that everyone either loves or hate Collingwood, and I quickly learned that it's better to be with Collingwood than against us. And but yeah, as, you know, I was a Melbourne supporter growing up, and I used to go Queen's birthday every year. So I passionately hated Collingwood, and found it quite funny that I ended up here. And yeah, I suppose for me though, when I got to the football club, all the guys were really welcoming, and you know, you quickly learn to bleed black and white. To be Collingwood captain was a massive honour when I found out about it, and you know, my family was pretty humbled by it, and you know, the responsibility that comes with that though is also exciting for me, and I've enjoyed it in the short time that I've been captain, and leading the boys and building those relationships. I wasn't the greatest academic, so you know, every chance there was PE or something after school, I thrived in those situations. And yeah, I never looked at, when I was young, at leadership and things like that. I just wanted to play and try to be the best I could. In a lot of basketball teams growing up, I was, you know, the captain, and I wasn't sure whether that was just because you were one of the best players or you actually had some leadership. Since I've got into AFL environment, I suppose leadership groups and all those type of things have intrigued me. And you know, after 2 years, I was in the leadership group at Collingwood, and learned a lot from just being in those groups and listening and trying to take it all in. I've had some pretty good guys to learn off though, with Maxie and Burnsy and Bucks, all captains while I was at the football clubs. I suppose with Maxie, you know, he's a great leader, and he understood everyone's abilities and how to relate to every guy. And you know, I spent the most time under Maxie. You know, I was his vice captain the whole time he was captain, and I learned a lot with Maxie, and you know, it was great for me to be there and be a sounding board. You know, if you had things I needed to speak to someone about, you know, you could turn to me. And then I suppose with Burnsy, he was a bit different. He was probably more quiet, you know, follow my lead, sort of action-based. And then you had, you know, at the start with Nathan, he was, I suppose, all of that. He was just so desperate to win, and he'd do anything for the team. But you know, he was, you know, such a great player as well that, you know, on field he was really inspiring to admire, to try and reach those levels.
Coming up next on this Footy Flashback special, we remember some famous grand finals through the eyes of the Collingwood captain. Welcome back to our special Collingwood Captains edition of Footy Flashbacks. The Magpies have played in more grand finals than any other club, resulting in 15 flags, 2 draws and 26 heartbreaking losses. In the 60s, 70s and 80s, the Magpies became a regular feature on the last Saturday of September. The captains of some of those teams relived the famous grand finals they played in.
There we go. Thompson in the middle of that pack. It comes down to Max Richardson. He gets a hurried hand pass out here towards Tuddenham. Tuddenham in a bit of trouble. Oh! Was almost unloaded. He kicks. He's put it through. The first goal of the match from the boot of the former captain, Des Tuddenham. What about that, Butch?
Great play, Teddy. Deep out onto the opposite wing. O'Callaghan racing for that ball. Wins clearly and kicks it back into the centre. Price on his own. Gives it to Tuddenham. Tuddenham plays through the middle. Up towards full forward, and McKinnon. Beautiful position. And here we paid the mark.
Nice piece of football. He is about 35, 40 yards out on the slide angle. It's on its way. It looks pretty good for me. It's right through the centre. Second goal of the match. Only about 30 yards out from the Collingwood goal. Thompson taps it down beautifully to Max Richardson. Richardson down forward. There they go again. Hall and McKenna. McKenna almost pulled it in, but he's battling on. A hand pass to Con Britt. Britt for Collingwood. Puts it through.
I remember that day very, very vividly, right up until perhaps the last 10 minutes, because up until the last 10 minutes, the grand final was ours.
He shoots at the big one. At this. A left footer through.
Oh, great play.
Walls has a long shot for goal. Jones is there. Down to Teddy Hopkins, the 19th man. He stepped for goal. And it throws. Put it through. Up towards centre half forward, the players sit themselves. Terry Waters went up, but Eakins comes out with it. Kicks followed by Jackson. Jackson goes after it now. Look at this fella go. Jackson a long hand pass to Hopkins. Hopkins steadies. Hopkins kicks. It's through. He put it through. 24 and a half.
Oh, too high. Too high. Super.
Brent Crosswell. It's on its way. It looks pretty good. Carlton in front. It's a goal. Carlton in front. Oh, what a finish.
We were going to finally hold the cup up, and then suddenly Carlton hit the front. Game over, and we lost after having had an 8-goal lead at half-time. So it turned out to be the blackest day of my life.
Gallagher, there's a siren. Calvin are premiers and look at what the rest is surrounded. Calvin are premiers and our commiserations to Bob Rose of Collingwood. It's happened again to him and nobody could be sorrier for Bob Rose than the three of us up here. It's all over. Yes, Carlton got up in the dying stages.
It's not just holding up the cup. We lost in 64 on the last kick of the day.
Crompton goals, the Demons are back in the lead. And it's through the middle.
We lost in 66 by a point.
He can't break clear. It's taken by Green. It's a point. It's a point. St Kilda in front.
And then to have led by 8 goals at half-time and lose it, yes, it wasn't good at all.
Ball driven out there towards Max Richardson, picked up by Little Bond. He's going for a run. Can he get it down there in time? There's the siren, I think, for the end of the game. It's a draw. It's a draw. The 1977 grand final is a draw. Oh, and we'll be back here next week.
151 to 124, North Melbourne have done it twice in the history of VFL football. The only 2 times it's been done to come from 3rd place on the VFL ladder after home and away season. And there it is. The grand final is all over. The replay and North Melbourne have won the flag for 1977.
I only had 1 year. It was a couple of grand finals, and you know, it was not, you know, a sad thing, but I did relinquish the captaincy after 77 and still played 78. But, you know, to be captain of a club like that was fantastic. The first one, I guess, just the noise coming down the race and having the players behind you, you know, all keen to get out there and do well for the club.
Sutton and Rene King. Here's a good pick-up by Twiggy Dunn. He's in trouble here as he tries to get clear. He is clear away from Ken. He'll fire for the goals. Let's see the shot up towards Moore and Gumbledon. Moore got his hands to it. Couldn't hold the ball. He's grabbed. He's trying to get as a go now for Anderson. It's a goal. A goal to Collingwood.
Now the short pass goes to Wearmouth. He'll play in a hurry. Loves a run and off he goes. Shocking old scrubby kick though. Oh, it beats them all. Down towards 4 foot. Gumbledon misses it. Can't stay on the goal square. Rene kick and he's put it through.
And then the highlight, I guess, was Twiggy Dunn's mark and goal late in the game to make it a draw.
The kick by Picken is into the goal square. There's a mark here to someone.
It's in front of Twiggy Dunn.
It's Twiggy Dunn, I think, has got it. Oh, golly, it could be a drawn game.
We might be back here next week.
Oh, golly. There's the go now. Twiggy Dunn's got the mark. Will it be a drawn match because we're approaching the 33-minute mark? Time must be running out. Twiggy Dunn with the ball, only about 10 metres out from goal. And look at those North Melbourne players on the mark. Well, oh, the pressure on this veteran from Collingwood, played over 200 games, fires for the goals. And he's put it through and scores at that level. Scores at that level. Now what will happen? Can they get it down there and score a point either side? What a climax this has reached.
33 minutes of play, Louis. The siren will sound very shortly.
I'll tell you what, you wouldn't want to have a week half today, would you?
And then I guess the following week, you know, to have to go through it all again. You know, I have said in the past that I still believe that the game shouldn't be played the next week. It should be 10 minutes each way. You know, most sports actually do that. They don't play the whole game again. And I think that would have, to finish it off in the week would have been fantastic. You know, the fans are the ones that make the club, and we're, not to win one, you know, I played started in 69 and we played in finals then, and then to play in 70 against Carlton and be so far in front again and capitulate wasn't good. But there is, you know, you feel more, you know, I still think about those grand finals, but, you know, you feel more for the supporters because they're the ones that, even now, you know, you meet some of them through different parts of life, and you say to, you know, they say to you, you know, what happened, you know, you've got to go through it all again, you know, to say, well, you know, we didn't understand that Tuddy had knocked out McKenna and in 1970 and things like that. At half time, you know, we were well up. If we had have known, if the club had have said something to us about that, I guess, you know, we wouldn't have been looking for McKenna, who was our, you know, goal kicker. And in 77, I've spoken to Phil Carman many times about it. He's apologised for what he did. in the second semi-final.
Carmen once again. Carmen in trouble once again. The big blue on down here.
Player is out cold.
One player doesn't make a team, but I mean, Phil was a great part of our team, and we needed him on that day. But unfortunately, we didn't have him.
Tuck was knocked down. Carmen had his number taken, and while we were talking about that, play went on.
I remember playing at Latrobe Golf Club one day, playing golf, and Jack Gaffney, who was the chairman of the tribunal of that time, was a Collingwood supporter, and he regrets now giving Phil 2 weeks instead of only giving him one, because then he could have played in the replay. But didn't have it.
Long kick down towards full forward. Moore's in front. He's got it.
Driving the ball up there towards that half forward. There's Moore coming out. He's got the mark. Moore, down he goes, but he's got the mark as he fires from about 50 metres out. The kick, not a bad one. It's right through the middle. That's his second.
For me, it was right in the middle of the Tom Hafey era. I was fortunate to play in that era. I think it's one of the greatest eras of Collingwood's history. Even though we didn't win a premiership, we played in 5 grand finals in 5 years. The year we missed out, I think we lost a preliminary final to miss out in the grand final. So it's a very successful period to be involved in, and I'd played in a lot of big games and under some really good captains. So to be, you know, in the company of those players as a captain of Collingwood was a tremendous thing, and there's nothing better than leading your team out on a grand final day and trying to be the guy that holds the cup up. But unfortunately, it didn't happen for me, but it wasn't for want of trying.
Down towards Peter Moore. Couldn't grow it at the second attempt though. David Dent trying to burst clear, can't do so.
Free kick
going to be a free kick to Moore. Peter Moore has 2. 4 minutes of play now in the final quarter. Moore shoots for goal. Oh, it's a magnificent attempt. It's a goal. What a magnificent goal. And it's an entirely different ball game.
He's going to drive the ball up to the full forward zone looking for Moore. He's got his hands to his mark. He's on the boundary line. He's a right footer. That's the only thing in his favour. He's running around. What's he done? 1 point. So it's a goal. It's a goal. Oh, the umpire was late, but it's a goal to the Magpies at the 8.5-minute mark. Right back in the game.
Every time the grand final plays, you know, every time I see a grand final, I think about the disappointment of not winning, and you know, it hurts. That's what we play for, and that's what we want to share as a team is that ultimate victory. And particularly in those days, Collingwood hadn't won a premiership for, you know, a long time, 30-odd years. So, and the Collywobbles was a popular phrase coined by the media. So we felt a lot of pressure to try and break the drought and be the team. And my ambition was to be the captain of the team that broke the drought. And unfortunately, we just missed out.
Up towards the 10-metre square. Mackay goes for the mark. Couldn't take it. Ashman snaps and puts it through. Ashman's first goal. Taylor from centre half forward should be able to land it in or near the square. He's looking for Moore, of course, who's in front, and then he got the mark.
Surprising though, Pete, that one doesn't get in front and one behind.
Moore kicks truly this time and puts it through for 4 points. His first goal. Long handball. Barham traps it well. At the Stewart in turn to Tony Shaw. The Magpies are alight. Here's Dacos. Snap for goal coming up. It's on target. Look at that for a goal.
How was that for a goal, Robert?
Superb goal kicked by Peter Dacos. MCG in pretty good condition today. Knocked away by Mackay. Straight to Johnston. Snaps it. Goal. Ashman underneath it. Couldn't take it. Then it bounces through. Goal. Fitzpatrick has the ball knocked away from him. Picking it up as Irwin. Gives it to Dacos and turn over to Tony Shaw. Useful handball to Taylor, who skirts well. Shoots at goal and has put it through for a great goal at Taylor.
Collingwood in front by 5 points. 52 points, Collingwood to Carlton 47. And we're right on the 20-minute mark of this, the third quarter. Knocked out to Stewart again by Moore. No one can get clear. There's strong players. We see a pick-up by Shaw, a snap for goal.
It's there.
I think he may have put it through. A beautiful goal on the Magpies. A long kick up there looking for Peter Moore, coming in for the big grab. Off the top of the pack again. He couldn't get clear. Finally, it's picked up. Oh, it's smothered. There's a go for Williams. Can he pick it up? He's kicked it off the ground for a goal.
Williams' second goal. What a goal it was.
It's a long kick for Billy Pick, and it's a long kick for anyone. Perovic with a chance to mark. Knocked away by Rene Kink. Gets a hand pass out to Barham. A snap for goal. He's put it through.
It's there.
Another goal to Collingwood. 21 points in front. But don't start celebrating yet, fellas, because it's a long way from over. He drives the ball up there looking for Johnson. He's got the mark. No, he hasn't paid it. Finally a tap to Cooper. He loses the ball. There's a go now for Aspen to fire at the goals. And what's he done with it? A goal.
Knocked away from Malin. It goes to Barham. A wrestle. Out comes Malin with the ball. Over the top of a handball. Buckley lines them up. Steadies on its way. And it's a goal. Carlton are coming back. One goal to Buckley. His first. A very valuable one just on siren time for the third term.
10 points the difference. There's a go now for Sheldon. A hurried shot for goal. He's put it through. 4 points the difference now.
Sheldon's second goal. Buckley and Johnston. Johnston gets it out. Long towards half forward. Mackay flies. Ashman scouts well. 12 metres out and goals. Carlton hit the front in the final term. 3 goals to Ashman.
Well, I think Mackay got that out. Ashman gets a hurried kick, or Mark Hewitt was back there, and Mark McClure's got the mark. Mark McClure comes in for the kick. There's no doubt about that. It's right through the middle. Stewart couldn't pick it up. It's finally knocked out by Bazasto out there towards McClure. He'll tap it on, but there's no one there for Carlton. It doesn't matter because the Magpies have lost this match for sure. Well, there's the siren, and Carlton have won the 1981 Grand Final. The final scores, 12 goals, 20-92 Carlton, to Collingwood 10-12, 72.
And a great victory for the Blues, completely in command in the final quarter.
Please acknowledge the Collingwood players.
All players aspire to holding that cup up, and I think any captain wants to be the guy that takes the cup on grand final day and holds it up, and I think that's the photograph every captain wants to have, is standing there with a cup with his coach and his team surrounding them having won. So it's a fantastic thing, and to be the leader of a successful footy team at this level was very.
Welcome back to our special Footy Flashbacks episode on the Collingwood captains. After winning the flag in 1958, 32 years passed before the Magpies would win their next one. I became coach in 1986 and was acutely aware of the pressure that was felt at the club. The Collywobbles was a particular favourite expression used by the fans and the media. The Magpies would finally get the chance to shed the Collywobbles tag and break the drought when they made Essendon in the 1990 Grand Final. Here are some highlights from that history-making day.
Boundary throw in, up over the top, Starcevic. No one can break clear. A tap to the advantage of Dacos. Look at the gather. The right foot snap. This is a miraculous kick. Unbelievable. Peter Dacos has posted Collingwood's first goal for the day, and he creeps ever so close to the magical 100 goals for the season.
Well, as soon as Dacos grabbed this ball and went near it, I heard the Collingwood crowd really lift their vocal encouragement, and aren't they rewarded with a magnificent goal?
Essendon swinging the changes. Danaher's kick is good, outside 50. No mark taken. Manson again, striving. Francis goes back to his roving partner Russell. Kick into the forward pocket. Brown, he'll keep it in, run into an open goal and put it through. Collingwood get their second.
Anderson's left foot kick is wide, over the head of Van der Haar. Makes good ground, runs out of room. There's the siren to end the first term in the 1990 Grand Final. Collingwood, 2-5, 17, lead Essendon, 2-2, quarter. And we have a brawl on the siren, and there receiving plenty of attention is Kelly. And we thought this had happened very early on, and now they're not mucking around, these guys. And usually this does happen early on in a grand final, not at the quarter-time break. Kick it forward. Well, and there's a fella towards half forward again. Madden up with the one hand. A clash of bodies. The ball breaks free. It's all Collingwood. Grosiska heads towards goal. A good-looking kick. He's done it.
Two fellows are contesting. The umpire not picking them all up.
Well, Dana has gone for the hand pass to Izard, and Russell's got him. He's lost it.
50 metres, that is stupid. That is stupid.
Well, Essendon are rattled.
That effort by Izard was pathetic.
Scott Russell, a gimme goal to send the Magpies further ahead.
Russell's kick to full forward. Collingwood mark, Grosiska should be paid and will be. Perhaps didn't quite control it as well as he would like to, but he shoots from 20 metres out and pops it through. Grosiska gets his second goal, and the minutes from the moment the quarter started have all belonged to Collingwood.
Opposing skipper, Shaw. Danaher a bad bounce. Hamilton. Under tremendous pressure. Francis takes the handball. Gives it away to Russell. He's met from behind. It spills free.
Free kick.
Grenbold, but it's come back. And it is a Collingwood free kick inside 50. Scott Russell will take it. Taking a long run. Now inside 50. From just over 40 metres. The Maggies are firing like a belt-fed mortar. 7-6, plays 2-2.
Russell plays on quickly to centre half forwards, a player on his own bowling.
Will that be 50 metres because that was a late tackle?
50.
By Buick. At least the umpires are consistent, and this will be the second lay-down Mazaire goal.
And a gimme goal. The Pies get their 8th. Russell, hurriedly to the wing. Turner's there. Jamie Turner. Starcevic again. Got one high from Terry Danaher.
Another 50-metre penalty. This is the third one that's been given away, and Starcevic not too good. The question arises, if he is not able to take his kick, will they give it to somebody else?
Well, that should happen. Player's been held up long enough now, surely.
And obviously he is concussed because he really... No, he looks as if he could be all right. He's at least conversing. He doesn't look too good.
No,
on the,
I don't think he's going to take the kick.
I don't
he's
think
not.
he is.
Another player's got the ball.
Well, he's just got to come off the ground if he can't take his kick.
Mickey McGuan's going to take it. And he's kicking from just inside 40 metres. Almost directly in front. Starcevic is going to leave the ground. McGuan shoots for goal, and these Pies are hot.
Kick wide. Anthony Danaher beaten for it by Mullane. Salmon goes back and tries to get the hand pass back.
Can't do so. Russell picks it up, heads in towards the pocket. Over the head of Thompson it goes. Dacos, this is where he's at his best. The master.
Izard tries to get it to Cransberg, who taps it to his advantage. Francis desperate. Turner's caught, but he gets his foot to the ball and kicks it to the front of the square. Oh, nearly Brown. Essendon under pressure. Brown will kick a goal. And if that doesn't bring the roof off the MCG, nothing will.
11 plays 5-10. Madden couldn't take it in the pack. The hurried kick by McGuan is effective. Tony Shaw gives it across to Wright. Graham Wright can bounce his way down to the half-forward line. Goes for a little chip towards Dacos. It passes both he and Brown. Thompson is there for Essendon. And on the last line of defence, gives it to a tired Danaher, who kicks towards Spawn. Couldn't take it on the half volley. Is solidly met. Wright waits for it. Kerrison, Soccer's clear. Kick it, could be first to it. And caught. Ripped off the football. Breaks to Shaw again. The skipper gives it to Barwick. On to Banks. Dennis Banks caught. Back to Barwick. Doug Barwick shoots and goes. Collingwood are home. The Pies are home.
They've got all the answers, Collingwood. Morwood's kick is wide. The mark is taken by Christian. on that opposite side of the ground, half-back flank. And they're sharing it around. Their Gloria is only moments away. The kick to half-forward, Krasiska. Hamilton tired. Krasiska tries to flick it back. He does it nicely. McWan, ducking and weaving. Goes around onto the right foot, kicks it in towards the centre, and the mark is taken by Francis. He's played well, 24 possessions. What can Mullane do? He goes after it. He falls over. Back goes Anthony Danaher. He slips over, loses control of the football. He's 1-on-2. Collingwood will get it again. Bowie, Brown it was, back to Mullane. Mullane's short pass is effective, and what is indicative of a wonderful performance by Collingwood. Their captain is marked within 50 metres of goal. Under 3 minutes left, and Tony Shaw, look at those statistics. A magnificent leader all day. The short pass is on, the centre-half forward, and the mark is taken by Monkhurst, and he stood straight up all day long as Damien Monkhurst.
Well, he hasn't kicked too many goals this year, Monkhurst.
2.5 minutes left. Monkhurst from 40 metres out. The kick looks pretty good. Up go the fans. It's another goal.
Well, as I mentioned, that's his third goal, Damien Monkhurst. Most improved player last year. You can see there Lee Matthews coming down. He realises the team have won. A smile on his face. And he is a very happy man.
From the back pocket. This will be probably the last kick. He need not even kick it. The drought is over. 52 years. They've waited. Let the celebrations begin.
I think it was a weight off everybody associated with the club. It was a weight off their shoulders. There was a bit of, not exactly jealousy, but disappointment that that opportunity had presented itself to me and we hadn't grasped it. But as far as the club was concerned, it was just such a relief to get that off our back.
Oh, look, it was fantastic. I went to the game. Just to see the players, and again the supporters, and the committee, the people that are around the club that helped all those years to get to where they were. But you look at the Tony Shaws and Darren Mullane, who played with a broken thumb right through the whole final series. Having that bit of an altercation, I think, at quarter time, I think probably helped them a little bit. I still believe it unnerved Essendon that day, and it was just great to see that the guys and Dacos and these guys get over the line and win it.
A bit of mixed emotions, actually. I was thrilled that they did, and I was absolutely ecstatic to see them get up. And Tony Shaw's a particular favourite of mine. I played with Tony, and I was his captain for a few years. I saw him fight his way through the reserves and fight his way into the team, and when I was captain, he was becoming a very valuable player, and I've never seen a more determined, dedicated and disciplined footballer in my life. So I had a lot of time for Tony and a great respect for him, so to see him captain that premiership was a fantastic achievement. He won the Norm Smith medal as well, so it was just a tremendous day for Collingwood and for all those players. But for us players who missed out, we were somewhat envious. I think that it wasn't us that broke the drought, but it was nevertheless great to see.
Welcome back to our Footy Flashback special on the Collingwood captains. Following Nathan Buckley's retirement in 2007, Scott Burns took over the coveted role for a year before Nick Maxwell was appointed captain in 2009. A year later, he would lead the Magpies out on grand final day, not once, but twice. Let's now look back on the two grand finals of 2010.
I obviously, as captain, felt a lot of pressure in terms of what we had to do, and everyone, despite the fact I didn't know a lot about Collingwood, I knew about the Collie Wobbles and what people would say, and even heard it that week leading up. And obviously, it had been 20 years since we'd won a premiership.
The 2010 grand final, the first one, just excitement. When I got into the AFL system, I'd always dreamed of winning a premiership, and to be finally there in a grand final and have the chance was an amazing experience.
We were the favourites. So that pressure and that expectation weighed on me, and I just knew that we had to make sure that we won that game of football. And I also knew that the team we were playing had lost one the year before, and that they were just going to be throwing absolutely everything at us. So I probably more focused on what we had to achieve rather than the day itself.
It was just excitement, a little bit of nerves, but more excitement to get stuck in.
And away we go. The grand final is underway. Gardner has to wait. Up goes Jolly. Hooks it down behind. Guess who? Swan down towards half forward. Bounces inside the 50. Storming up the ground. Cloak missed it. Dawes has got it. Quilt got him. Pendlebury is through. Over the top. Will it sit to Didak? Takes him away from goal. Feeds it back to Jolly. Oh! No sign of the Jolly wobbles. He puts it through.
Well, how often do we talk about the ruck contest between the ruckmen who want to go forward, which is Jolly for Collingwood, Gardner for St Kilda, but when the ball went forward, he just took off Jolly, and it was the extra player to score the goal.
And this is where I reckon Alan Didak's at his most dangerous, running back towards goal, whether he's out running himself or drawing the hand pass and getting it that way. Scott Pendlebury started the game so well last week in the preliminary final on the Friday night, started again, but Darren Jolly and Lee Brown have that X factor to push forward as ruckman, and St Kilda are certainly going to need to be on top of that.
And the tackle was late, but the handball was still effective, so that ability to pin the ball in, always really important to make it a really effective tackle.
Now, can Milne turn Johnson inside out? When your name's Ben Johnson, you're quick, aren't you? And that's a beautiful handball to Reid. It was a lovely take and a well-weighted kick to Pendlebury, who started well, as he did last week. McCaffer, good hands, and then quickly onto a one-on-one. Dawes is good overhead. Well done, Gwilt, but it got away. And Blair, what a story. The only guy on the rookie list kicks the goal.
Gives it to Maxwell.
Didak underneath, but well done by Fisher. I think he was off.
He was off.
He was. Turnover beams to Didak, to Dawes. Loves to come up the ground, Dawes, along with Cloak. Comes wide to Davis. First look at him. Third grand final for Leon. Lines it up and then floats one to fall forward. Oh, almost a brilliant mark by McCaffer. Gilbert on him. Is that out on the full? It's in dangerous hands too, isn't it?
Yep.
Didak, not beyond him. About as tough as it gets for a left footer.
For some.
What more can you say?
Chips it out wide. Swan's been terrific in the early going. The favourite for the Norm Smith goes towards the 50. Running hard is Thomas. They're putting on a clinic at the moment.
20 must keep within 10.
Didak, a marvellous kick moments ago. Gardner is the big man lurking behind for the Saints. In he comes. Goes for the spiral. Well, it's untidy, but I think it's good. Oh, this could be a magpie day. This could be a magpie day. He tumbled it through. A mistake for 6 points. This is Reid. Always in a marking contest. You've got to pay the quality you're marking against. Well done there by Shaw. Gardner, the big man, was bearing down from one knee. Shaw, Pendlebury, ball under pressure, did brilliantly. Now Brown looks inside the forward 50. Cloak is favoured by the kick. Dawson, not sure what he was thinking there. This man has his days. Needs to be on, needs to kick this one. Needs to kickstart himself, and he does. Splits the middle. Gardner falls down. Jolly goes over the top. Brown deep in the pocket. Gets boot to ball. Going back. Dempster, is that holding it? He had a long time. Peake did well. Gave it to Goddard. Clears the zone. Johnson knocks it down. Harry lines up. Harry O'Brien heads for goal. And he's got it.
Probably the day itself, it sort of was all going according to plan. I think going into half-time, I think Trav missed a couple right before half-time, and that would have put us probably 5 or 6 goals up, and it probably would have been all over that stage. But we sort of kept him in a little bit, but I still felt, because it was going to be a low-scoring game, because that was the way St Kilda played and the way they defended, and probably the way we defended as well with our high-pressure forward line. So I thought that it was just going according to plan, and then that third quarter they started to get back a little bit, and then obviously in the last they started really coming at us.
Kicks the ball hard to Revolt, and Schneider takes it. He's too far out, I think. Hayes, he might be too far out, I think. Could Lenny find the distance from here? Well, he's a man for a big occasion, we know that, but can he get the distance? He's pumped it hard, he's pumped it long, he's kicked the goal! Lenny Hayes!
Scrambled down towards half forward by Hayes. Johnson, he's battled hard back there. Socket off the ground by Tuvey. Comes straight to Montagna. Del Santo kicks inside the forward 50. And the mark is taken by Milne.
Just eased him under the football. Eased him under.
One part of the game that's been extraordinary has been small forwards being able to mark the ball in contested situations.
Milne comes in the margin. 1 point.
Schneider, here is Hayes. Belting forward. Got up! What a drop! Collingwood has never been behind in this grand final today. The Saints have never been in front until now.
In fact, the person sitting next to me, who was an avid Collingwood supporter, said to me with 5 minutes to go, "I have to go. I'm going to be sick if I don't leave here."
Come on, Pies, come on.
Let's go, Magpies, let's go.
He's pumped it hard, he's pumped it long, he's kicked the goal. Lenny Hayes!
And I don't think anybody will ever forget Nick Maxwell's big save to keep the game alive for us.
Opportunity for ball head down. Dida couldn't control it. Revolt out of the congestion. It runs on and touched. Maxwell tracking it back, touching it right on the chalk. Watch it again for a moment. It looks gone. He does brilliantly.
I mean, when I ran back and touched the ball on the line, that was just something that I guess I trained myself to always do, was to go as hard as you can at training, and hopefully that reflects come game day. And for me, that wasn't anything special. It was just something I guess I'd trained myself to do, was to go hard first and then work out if you're going to get there. And if you are going to get there, you give yourself a chance. But if you don't go hard at the start, you sort of miss that opportunity.
I think that that was highlight for mine, that bit of play by Maxi, and it sort of summed up how he went about his football, sacrificed his body and for the betterment of the team. And it was one of those moments that kept us in that game and ultimately led for us to have another chance to win.
Probably the one I was more prouder of was later on when I took a mark on the wing, because a few minutes before they'd hit the lead, and I looked up at the clock and the scoreboard, and I remember making a decision that if the ball came in my area again, that I had to do something differently that I'd done in the past, and I had to try and change the flow of the game. So 99 times out of 100, I just would have gone up with Sam Gilbert and spoiled the ball to the boundary, but I'd made that decision. I had to do something different and take a risk. So I sort of flew for the mark and marked it, and then again played on through the corridor, which is something that I'd never done before really. But we ended up getting a goal out of it, and for me it was because I'd made that decision and knew that I had to try and do something if the ball came to my area. It was important that we executed and we got it right. So it was only a little moment in the game, but for me it was something that I guess meant a lot to me.
Johnson quickly off the mark. Milne at best. Ball bouncing. Scores a level. Oh, no. What are you doing next week?
I think everyone's memory is that ball going in and bouncing on a right angle away from Stephen Milne. And, you're just so intense, you're so locked into the moment, thinking, who's going to get this clearance. At the time, Lenny Hayes was the most dominant player on the ground. And it's just, I remember being near him and it was just sort of stop Lenny from getting a clearance and giving him a chance. And then the siren went and, we all just dropped and laid on the ground for about 5 minutes. Just sort of total disbelief that it was a draw and that we quickly figured out that we'd come back in a week's time to do it again.
Well, once the game was a draw, I just felt like I let everyone down. Felt like we'd lost an opportunity, and I took it pretty hard. Probably for me, I was getting drug tested with three other Collingwood players, and I was the last one in the room, and the room's actually flooded because the sewage backed up, and I was just left sitting in my gear by myself. And because of, I guess, the type of day it was and the game it was, I was just heavily dehydrated, and it took me forever to get out what I had to. And I just sat there contemplating it all and thinking about it, and ended up all I had was my car keys because everyone had taken my bag and everything. So I drove back to Westpac Centre in my full playing kit with my boots on and everything, and on the drive back, I just thought, listen, if I'm feeling this way, imagine what the other players feel like.
To be honest, it's a bit of a blur, the sort of the after the game. And I remember, you know, Maxie and Mick just being really good for the group of pulling us in after the game when we're in the rooms and saying that we're going to go to the after-match function. We're all going to spend time with our family and friends, talk about it, get it out of your system.
There was another moment where I walked past the altitude room and I just heard the feet going on the treadmill, and I sort of put my head in and wondering who it was, and it was Tarkin Lockyer and Tyson Goldsack, and the two guys who were emergencies who'd missed out on playing that day. And they were sort of looking at each other and smiling and laughing and having a joke, and just sort of dawned on me that it wasn't a lost opportunity, it was just a postponed opportunity. Both guys,
You know, Mick and Maxie used that to give everyone the opportunity that, you know, we get to play another grand final in 7 days' time. You know, to play in 2 grand finals in your careers, you're lucky, but we get to do it in the space of a week, so make the most.
It's going to be a draw. It's unbelievable. But it's happened.
One thing I sort of said, listen, we've got an opportunity a week later. Some people never ever get an opportunity again to play in a grand final, and think about your performance and how you played and how you're going to be remembered for that game. And if you're happy with how you performed, let's do that again. If you're not, as I said, some people never get that opportunity to redeem themselves. You get a chance 1 week later for redemption. So let's make sure we make the most of that opportunity. And I know a couple of guys came to me after the next week and sort of said that stayed with him. Pendles was one who had been really crook going into that game, so didn't perform to his lofty standard, but come out and won the Norm Smith medal. Leading into the first game, I remember waking up in the morning and eating breakfast, and then, you know, quickly running outside and breakfast coming back up, and I thought, you know, this is not quite normal because I don't get nervous sort of at the best of times, and you know, I thought maybe it's getting the better of me here, and yeah, and just the lead up to the game was fine. I didn't really say anything. I thought, you know, I'll be able to handle 2 hours of footy and I'll be able to get through whatever, you know, if it's just nerves or I'm a bit crook, I'll get through it. And then to go through the draw, and I remember for speaking to, you know, Butters after the game, our head of fitness, and just telling him that I was a bit crook and that I still felt pretty crook, that I sort of went into quarantine for 3 or 4 days, and, you know, I come back with about 3 days to go before that grand final, so I had 3 days off to try and get my weight back up and make sure I was cherry ripe for that second grand final. And yeah, I was just grateful that I had another opportunity, because I would have been fairly disappointed if that's how people remembered a grand final that I played in.
And the winner of the Norm Smith medal for 2010 is Scott Embry from Collingwood.
To win the Norm Smith, it's icing on the cake, I suppose. You know, but I think it's something that, you know, my family and friends and all that were more excited than I was. I was just stoked to play in a premiership, and you know, it's the reason why I continue to play now. That's what I want. I want another flag, and as I said, the Norm Smith was like a little cherry on top. But you know, there's not a Norm Smith party in 5 years' time, a reunion. There's a premiership reunion, and you know, I'm just one of the guys of 22 that gets to attend.
So Collingwood win by their greatest ever margin in a grand final. It doesn't get better than that.
Absolutely, you dream about winning the flag. For me, it probably started 2007 when I saw a couple of my mates, Jimmy Bartell, Gary Ablett, those guys win one for Geelong. Then to watch Hodgie and Brad Sewell and Mitch and those guys win it the next year. Geelong again the next year. Every year that passed, I just get more and more jealous. And I remember sitting there with a family friend of mine, Nick, who big Collingwood supporter, and he's been through all the ups and downs over the years and watched a lot of losing grand finals. And I just said to him, I've got to get that. I've got to be a part of that.
In 2010, in some ways, it was probably a bit of closure. Now, I know probably half the players weren't here during that 02 and 03 period, but there's a support staff. There was obviously Mick that had been around through that period that I'd played, where we just missed out those couple of years, and another year we lost a prelim by 5 points. So I was just wrapped for those that are involved that they finally at least got one, and hopefully a few of them get a few more as well. In some ways, you'd like to think you're an indirect part of it with the way you've led as a player and as a captain in the past, that they've taken some things on board that may have helped them lead or be a better player.
As a supporter, you want your team to do well and to win premierships, and being now, you know, living in Melbourne for over 40 odd years, it's you become a Collingwood diehard.
I like to watch them as often as I can now, and I like to see them obviously do well, and to see them back up, and for Maxi to captain a premiership team was a tremendous effort. A lot of people underrate Maxi as a captain, but I mean, I think he's been a wonderful captain and a wonderful leader for Collingwood, and I think the way the players respect him, it's always great to see a captain succeed.
It seems like it goes so quick. You know, I spoke to guys who've won flags, and they've all said it just goes, you know, before you know it, pre-season starts again, and you can't enjoy it. And yeah, winning one has just sort of lit the fire. It's made me hungrier than ever to win another one. And at the time when you win it, you think they're going to win another one the year after and the year after that. And you know, in the position I'm in now, I just want to get back there and have the chance to get one more.
When it actually came around, probably the overwhelming feeling for me was relief. Just that we did it. We can say you did it, and no one can ever take that away from you. So it actually meant so much on that day, and obviously looking back on it. But I was fortunate enough to do a tour with the Cup a few weeks later through country Victoria, and it actually meant more to me after that trip. People would line up for miles just to come and get a photo with the Cup, and I remember just sitting with 60 and 70-year-old, 80-year-old men who had the Cup between us, put their arm around you, they're bawling their eyes out, just saying that you don't understand what this means to me. I can die a happy man now, and those type of things.
It's been a long 20 years, and you've stuck by us the whole way. This one's for you guys. Thanks to everyone out there.
Maxwell might have started his career as a mere rookie, but he would finish much loved as one of the select few to hold up the Premiership Cup. But every one of the men who have led the Magpies has a special place in the club's history, and it works both ways. As we're about to hear, the club also holds a special place in the hearts of these Collingwood captains.
What does a Collingwood Football Club mean to me? It probably means more than anything opportunity. I'd been through a couple of years of drafts and trained with 3 different clubs, and I never would have had that opportunity to do what I got to do for 12 years if the Collingwood Football Club and Mick Malthouse and Noel Judkins hadn't seen something in me and believed in me and given me an opportunity.
I suppose it's life to me. It's all I've known since I left school, and it's sort of like a family to me. That they took me in when I was 17, and you know, 10 years later I'm still here, and yeah, I'm not sure what I'd be doing if I wasn't. So, yeah, it's everything to me.
It was interesting. I guess it's my entire adult life, leaving Adelaide at 18, 19. It means a lot of hard work, a lot of joy, a lot of disappointments, a lot of anxiety, a lot of pressure, and a lot of things that are worthwhile as well. So, all in all, though, it's been a very positive experience to be involved in the Collingwood Football Club.
From the time I was 19, I was suddenly thrust into a Collingwood football jumper. It was my life. And it was for 10 years. Every Saturday, every long weekend, you were out playing football and enjoying it, I might add. And now I just enjoy it. And I don't have to work hard for that enjoyment.
Oh, look, it gave me a great start to life. I know coming from Perth as a 20-year-old and now, you know, getting that opportunity to play at the highest level, and VFL was in those days the highest level of football you could play, and to be at Collingwood, which was a club that had so much tradition and really had success, you know, and that was the benefit of it. You know, I don't think I would have, you know, you don't know, but I mean, in hindsight, if you weren't a successful side, if I had gone to Fitzroy in those days or one of the lower clubs, whether you would have lasted the 10 years I did at Collingwood. So, you know, to have them give me that opportunity was fantastic.
It's always going to be really close to my heart, and I'll always be a Collingwood supporter. A couple of my mates sort of try and wind me up that I'd be turning back to Hawthorn Footy Club, but no chance at all.
Well, I tend to get labelled a former Brownlow medalist more than a former captain, but it's to me it's more important, really, the honour of being a captain. It's great to be part of that history, and you know, it's only the very good players, very fortunate players, and players who are good leaders who get to become a captain of Collingwood. So you know, it's a terrific achievement, and I was extremely proud to be that.
It's always a nice thing to have when people meet you and they talk about it, and you get a sense of pride and a sense of honour having been the captain of the Collingwood Football Club.
I think just playing for Collingwood, you've got that pride in being captain and the face of the team, so to speak, that it goes up another level, and you know, you just don't want to disappoint when you run out there on the weekend. We've got the biggest and best fan base in the AFL, and you don't want to disappoint them because, you know, when they're up and about, I think the whole AFL competition's better for it.
Being a captain did, and I still think that even being a Collingwood player, people that recognise you for playing, you know, at Collingwood, there certainly does open doors in sales and things like that, and even now, you know, just going around to different golf clubs, you know, people recognise you as a Collingwood player, and you know, it was always funny when I had two daughters, and when we'd go to the football, even when they were growing up, you know, we'd always say to them, don't talk to strangers, and we'd come out of the ground, and you know, people would ask me a question, I'd stop and talk to them, and they'd always say to me, you know, Dad, you always told us not to talk to strangers. Why? Who were they? And I say, well, I don't know, but they wanted to ask a question on footy, and I think that's a good part about. And that's what happens in life, you know. If you're good enough to do that and get out there and talk to people, you know, it turns around, it'll come back to you. So, enjoyable.
Look, certainly it's pushed me at times with the media and things like that, but, you know, I see it as opportunities to grow and become a better person. And, you know, I think just from being accepted into the Collingwood Football Club that, you know, I'm already a better person than I would have been, you know, had I, you know, gone a different sport or gone to uni. I think I've grown, and, you know, I owe the Collingwood Football Club a lot.
I'm very proud to say that I'm a Collingwood captain. Probably more than anything, I always looked at it as just a time where, for that certain amount of time, I had to be the face of the club and lead the club. I wouldn't say I left it in a better place because Burnsy and Bucks were so good in what they did before me. But I do feel that, I guess, I did contribute to success, and more than anything, I contributed to a premiership that our fans will never forget, and I'll certainly never forget.
It's a great title, and it's a privileged title, and I think there's only 46 that have ever been captain, and I'm not sure how many are still living, but it's something that when you run into someone who's been a former captain, there's automatically a connection.
Like being presidents of America, you're always the president, and here you're always a captain, whether you're the reigning captain or not. So I think we're always a captain of Collingwood, and it's a great tag to have.
Well said, and thanks to all for giving us such a great insight into what it means to be a Collingwood captain. That's the show for this week, but we'll be back again soon to take another walk down memory lane next time on Footy Flashbacks.